are live. Live from our in-home studios or some shit.
Mm.
Cool. How's it going, my brother?
I'm okay. Having kind of a couple of poor mental health days these last couple of days, so
Yeah.
we're just dealing with it.
Yeah?
Had saw my therapist today. That was okay. Yeah,
Yeah. Was it eventful? Was it like helpful, or was it kind of like, just going through the motions?
it was certainly eventful. Not in a good way though.
Oh.
Like I don't know. I can just be kind of a piece of shit when I get really upset sometimes. So
Uh,
yeah.
well,
Anyway, we got other cool things going on today though, like
sure, yeah.
nerd stuff.
Nerd stuff, absolutely. Yeah, I haven't had any bad mental health days necessarily, but I used to have a lot of them. And as you can see, I have my instruments here because I've been working on music. I've been refining and fixing a bunch of songs I wrote a long time ago. When I had a lot of bad mental health days. So revisiting them now is pretty interesting, because I was in such a bad place and like everything's so depressing that I wrote. But it's like I don't know. It doesn't it feels refreshing to come back to it from a better place, and
Mm.
so just know that things do get better. It just takes a long time, and you're taking all the right steps to make yourself better.
Yeah,
So
one step at a time for sure.
yeah,
The problem
but
is right now I've been so busy I don't really have like an emotional creative outlet or anything like that, so I've been kind of just stuck.
yeah, it's tough. Like even when you have outlets, like some outlets can be in some ways like uh worse almost
Mm.
because they help you to avoid your problems instead of addressing them and moving on.
Yeah.
Like it just happens, but it's good like you're getting back into like magic a little bit, because it's
Yeah.
something like it's something to at least like
Be
distract
alive,
you or keep you
a reason to
busy.
be alive. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say magic's a good reason to be alive, but I
Well,
mean,
it's a reason then. So there you go.
yeah. But yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, looking at my binder makes me happy. Like I said, just like all the times when I was younger in high school and I could never really afford to get into the binder collecting game, and now I have my own little collection going. So
Yeah, which is awesome.
yeah, it's important to
So
have those little things.
definitely. But yeah, we are here today to talk about Secret Invasion.
Oh yeah.
Because we haven't talked about it yet, and you've only watched the first episode, right?
Yeah, episode one.
Okay, so we'll talk about the first episode, and then maybe we'll talk about some other nerd news and stuff. But if you guys haven't watched Secret Invasion, you probably want to skip this part because you probably don't want to be spoiled or something. So,
Mm.
but yeah, based on what you told me earlier, you were not impressed with Secret Invasion.
Yeah, it's just very, I don't know, it felt like so much of a spy movie it hurt. I think that's the best way to describe it. Like, it was such a spy show that it was painful. And, like, it's just, it's just weird seeing him, I don't know, like, it's, it's just weird seeing him, like, speak Russian and, like, do other, like, spy stuff and, like, transition. I don't know, it's just very, very, something's, like, very breaking of the immersion for me, you know? Like,
Hmm.
and they made him so shitty and old. Like, I don't remember him being that old all the time. Like, not even like in the last movie.
Well,
But
a lot of time has passed, right?
yeah,
Um,
7 years since the blip or whatever they called it, right, or something like that.
yeah. So he
We should
disappeared
do
in
a
the
timeline
blip.
episode. That'll be some free content where we catch everybody up on where the Marvel timeline currently is, because even I don't fucking know where it is right
It's
now.
got
To be
this has
honest.
got to be 3 or 4 years after the blip is my guess.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if they ever confirm in the show, and I don't remember if they did already in the first 3 episodes. But yeah, I don't know.
It's been a while. Yeah. So
It's
like
certainly
when
been some time.
it's just when he disappeared, like he had the short regular beard and he looked like regular. Maybe something happened when he was in space though that I'm not aware of, like to make him age a little faster. Or there's some backstory stuff to it. I don't know. Just for right now, like this, the episode, like the jokes are really like a lot of the acting and the jokes and the writing is very campy. Have you picked up on that too? Like it's kind of like really cheesy sometimes, like with how friendly everybody is with each other.
Yeah,
Or
to me, it's very Samuel L. Jackson. Like
yeah,
it's his kind of humor, right? Like it seems like he is like steering the ship in a lot of ways with this because a lot of the humor seems like ad libbed, you know?
yeah, that's the thing. It feels like it's Nick Fury walking around Moscow and things are happening to him. Like the scroll invasion seems so like such a non-issue. like it's like
Well, it's a
I don't know.
non-issue so far.
So far, yeah, like it seems like there's a bunch of scrolls in government or whatever, and they're gonna take over the planet. And I'm like, wow, call the your first thing would be like, okay, call the Avengers, but instead like it's called like I
Well,
don't know. I'm just all I'm all over the place with how I think about like maybe I need to watch the couple of episodes and then I'll understand a little bit better. But I don't know.
yeah, because they do specifically kind of call out why they're not calling in the Avengers. But yeah, things are gonna happen. Like it's hard to talk about because it hasn't happened yet in these episodes, but like it's pretty obvious what's going to happen.
So and
Um,
that was the thing I wanted to ask you, like how well prepared are you since you are a avid comic book consumer? Like how many like do you basically know? Okay, have you guessed the plot so far? Like you can basically like or at
well,
least like the
I
guard.
mean the
I know
basic
it's gonna
plot,
be a little
yes,
different.
is
Yeah. Okay.
very clear.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean overall the story is gonna not follow the comics very closely. It's even reported that the showrunners and the people working on the show were told not to read the comics
Mm-hmm.
um, by Kevin Feige. So I don't know if that includes everyone, including like writers and stuff. But the showrunner doesn't even know how the comic books go, so he had no idea, right? Um, in addition to that, I mean, it seems like they're drawing from other stories as well. Primarily to me, it seems like they're going the direction of Super Scroll,
Mm.
and
I don't
that's not a
know.
reach
I,
because they
I
do
don't know what
name.
that is.
So in comics, right? There's Super Scroll who essentially he gives himself or he takes on the powers of the Fantastic Four, all of them. Like
Mm.
he has.
He can turn invisible. He
Have
can
you
be on fire, and he's like a giant rock monster,
have you
and he can
seen Rise
also
of the
throw
Silver
fizzles.
Surfer, the bad Fantastic Four movie?
No, I didn't because it was so bad. I
Oh,
didn't want
okay.
to go see
Well,
it. And I really
it,
like that first Fantastic Four movie. Like I really liked that first Fantastic Four movie as
but
a
you didn't
kid.
watch the second one?
No, because I heard that it was really bad, and I just
Oh,
wanted
you
to
should
hold on to
watch
the
it.
child's.
Well, towards the end of it, they merged themselves essentially into, one like Power Rangers morphing into one being, and it's like all their powers kind of, which is supposed to be Super Scroll. Super Scroll has all the powers of every member of the Fantastic Four, right? He's like part of him is made of the thing's rock. He can turn invisible. He's the Human Torch, and he can stretch. So like that's Super Scroll, and
Stretchy, fiery, invisible rock monster. Yeah,
yeah,
that sounds cool.
and rather than that, they I don't want to spoil it for you because like they've introduced elements of this, but they're not
Mm.
there yet. And the main guy, what's his face? You know the bad guy,
The only good actor in the show so far.
Gravik.
Yeah.
He's good, but he mumbles a lot. Like I literally had to
Yeah,
turn on closed caption because I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
and I feel like the audio is mixed really weird in this because sometimes it'd be so quiet, and I feel like but they're yelling at each other. It's so weird. I don't know. I feel like they're having
Yeah,
audio mixing issues right now in Hollywood
yeah,
because that
it's
between that
weird.
and like right Spider Verse, like it's
Yeah.
been all over the place.
Yeah, it definitely. But um, so the graphic in episode 3 does name drop Super Scrolls.
Mm.
So but we saw that coming when in another episode that you're not at yet. I mean that there are scientists experimenting with genetics of superheroes.
Oh, I want them to go like, "Oh, what's your name? My name is Reed Richards." Like, does that
No,
just
it's not
happen?
going to be Fantastic Four's powers, but you see, like, there's a database with like Groot's DNA and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, well, it's very obvious they're gonna make a device to give scrolls the powers of of Earth's mightiest heroes to turn into them to make it seem like they're the ones attacking people to like that's to me where everything looks like it's going. Besides
Okay.
like government officials, right? Like they've episode 1, right? They're already framing Americans, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to start a war between Russia and America.
Okay.
Um,
That's another thing too. I think let me just run you by this because you appreciate this. Like DC is on Earth, but it's a different Earth than the Earth you and I know, and the politics of that Earth are also kind of different.
sure.
It's just hearing like these names now with everything going on just feels very off-putting in like its own little specific way. But maybe that's just me because I've been in such a miserable mood these past couple of weeks.
Yeah. So this is the thing with Marvel, and it's always been the case. But when they first started making the MCU movies, like a lot of people associated them more closely with the Ultimate Universe, and the Ultimate Universe has always been kind of more representative of our real world. And so, because obviously Iron Man 1 deals with like, the war in the Middle East and different things like that. And so it's like, that's very real world. We can see ourselves, we can see this in our world. And all the Iron Man movies kind of deal with it a little bit, right? And then
a lot of the Iron Man movies had to deal with addiction. I think was a really big part of the movies.
And then the Captain America, right? Captain America's history is our American history. Like everything is like based pretty much in our real world in the MCU, and so it makes sense for it to be the same here. But by the same token, right? Like a lot of people want to go to these things to escape, like Gotham, even though it seems like Chicago, isn't Chicago.
Yeah.
Right. Gotham is Gotham. Gotham is fantasy, right? It's Middle Earth. It's Narnia. It's whatever it is to you, right? Like it's your way to escape and watch Batman just kick some ass and whatever. Whereas like, if you're not in the right mindset or the right mood for something like Secret Invasion, you're like, man, like this could happen and it's terrifying and I don't want to fucking think about this shit right now. I just want to watch fucking Star Wars or like something to get away from this.
Yeah, exactly. There was just something about that whole situation that just was really off-putting to me. I don't know. That's probably puts my thumb in a lot. Like the real world associations of what's going on. Like someone trying to secretly provoke a war between Russia and the United States. Like it's it's definitely not Illuminati programming or whatever they're calling it.
Yeah.
They're already seeding the ideas in your mind, so the real world counterpart can happen or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it can definitely be off-putting, especially like like you don't need scrolls, right? Like in the real world for you to go, well, yeah, there are spies everywhere in the world that like you would think are your best friends or whatever, and they would do this shit. Like scrolls are like many other things in comics or whatever. Like they're a kind of allegory, a kind of metaphor in other ways, but ultimately, like this idea that this enemy could be anyone, anywhere, at any time, and frame people and all. Like to me, I hate stories that deal with those kind of concepts, right? Of like thinking your best friend betrayed you, but they didn't.
It's provoking your own paranoia. Like we have our own real life situations for these things. Like for those of you that don't know me, like my girlfriend of 2.5 to 3 years dumped me over text and got with a man I consider to be one of my closest friends, and so that was pretty wild. Like and it happened like in the span of a week. So
Jesus.
I don't want to hear about like stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just on one hand, for a lot of people, it's compelling because it's like you want to shout at the TV and you want to be like, no, like they didn't like just tell them it wasn't you or what, like talk about it and resolve the issue or blah blah blah. But like on the other hand, like it's annoying to me when those things happen. I'm glad they haven't lent into that so far. I mean, in a way they do, but I don't really care if like they're framing the U.S. military or whatever. Like, like it's worse if they're framing Nick Fury or like what I'm predicting is in future episodes they're gonna turn into Groot or other heroes and they're going to frame them, right? and that might be a little too close to home, where it's like, oh, come on, like people are really gonna believe this, and like like you would think like they would just say, hey guys, there are these green aliens called Skrulls that could be anyone or anywhere, and if something seems up or suspicious, it probably is them, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, like we're at the beginning of this, like everything's starting to kind of unravel right now.
Mm.
So yeah, but I'm enjoying Secret Invasion. I think the intensity does pick up, but if you're not bought in to the premise, or again, if you're not in the right mindset to watch something like this, you're gonna just want to turn it off.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I was really compelled, I think, for the first 20 minutes, Nick Fury coming back and everything like that, and him getting dropped off. And, like, with the trick they did with the, like, with the one, it's weird, the one time they did really good sound design was when the ship took off, and everything went
Yeah,
mute for a second, and then it's, like, everything slowly started to come back in. It was, like,
yeah.
fantastic.
I mean, in the whole, I like the whole sequence with Everett Ross.
Mm.
Obviously, like it's pretty clear after a certain point that he was a Skrull.
Yeah.
But
Good Bilbo.
yeah, good old Bilbo. But yeah, it's I enjoyed that sequence, and then yeah, Nick comes back. We get a lot of good Maria Hill. I don't like. We'll get to the Maria Hill stuff later, but a lot of people are like complaining that like they ruined her opportunity to be the character she needed to be, or something. Like essentially, like we never got great Maria Hill, and this was that opportunity, and like it kind of fell by the wayside or something. But this isn't really her story, first of all, and second of all, I don't know if people read a lot of Maria Hill comics. I mean, she's not like, she doesn't have like her own ongoings or anything. Like she might have one or two, but I never liked Maria Hill in comics. And for me that stems from honestly playing the Ultimate Alliance 2 game, where Maria Hill was just like the worst pro registration annoying ass character, and she was like awful. Like, but like you need that in Shield, right? You need hard asses who are like, hey, this is this and this is this, and I get that, but I've never been a fan of Maria Hill, so I do like Colby Smulders or whatever the actress's name is. I thought she did a really good job as Maria Hill.
Yeah, no, her character was really consistent throughout like all 10 years of movies.
Yeah,
so that's been good.
Yeah, but ultimately, I don't think they like did injustice to her character or anything. But yeah, if you don't know what we're alluding to because you haven't watched it, then you should leave, unless you don't care.
Spoilers.
But spoiler alert, yeah, she ends up dying.
She gets shot, yeah.
And again,
the bad guy turns into Nick Fury, and he's like, "Hi," and then he shoots her in the chest.
That's another weird one. Like, it would bother me if she died thinking Nick Fury killed her.
Yeah.
Like, because he wouldn't do that. Like, and she knows he wouldn't do that. So, like, what was even the point of him turning into Nick Fury anyway? To like, maybe it's a thing for the audience.
I think no,
right?
it was to get close to her, right? That's why he did it. Like he did it so he could get close, so he could shoot, so he could shoot her.
Maybe it's the visual thing for the audience of like seeing Nick Fury kill Maria is like it's like a bigger statement. It's like, this is you seeing the worst side of you or something, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe there's something deeper, like artistic there they were going for, but yeah. And then I think one of your complaints was you felt like it wasn't as violent as it could be.
I felt like no. I thought it was going to be more violent. I think is a better way of putting it. Like I thought it was going to be more intense, more insane. Like but it's not. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I just thought the vibe of the movie would be of everything would be different, unless like I thought it just different, more darker. This feels like such a campy little spy movie so far.
You know what it is? It's. I don't know if you saw the like pre-reviews or like the pre-articles about Secret Invasion. But if you did, they would taint you a little bit into thinking like this kind of way, because a lot of them were saying like Secret Invasion is the MCU's Andor, and like,
Yeah.
like, if that's true, you could argue, yeah, the first couple episodes of Andor weren't very good, and then it got very good. So we'll see. Or it could be, like, well, Andor was incredible, and this would be like at best Andor light. Because like, if you're looking for
Andor
intensity,
wasn't.
right? The
Andor was just something on another level, man. Like this is not Andor, not even by like a
bro,
long shot.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
After like episode 2 of Andor, like it's
You're sold.
non-stop intensity.
You have to watch the whole thing. Like it's impossible to like watch one episode of Andor a night. Like literally, I was watching 3 a night, and the reason like I have difficulty watching sometimes is because I just have to keep a really tight sleep schedule. Because like when I can't sleep, I get a little worse than I usually am.
Yeah.
So like bad sleep always really messes with my head, like really the kind of the worst ways. So I keep a really tight sleep schedule. So like when I always make sure I get full 8 hours a night.
Yeah,
And
that's important.
And sometimes I would break that so I could watch more.
Bro, I'm telling you, I was so glad I waited a little bit with Andor, because like once it picked up, I was like, holy shit, this is so good.
It is
like
fantastic. Yeah.
It's crazy to think about, because I tried to watch the first episode like 3 times, and I was like, dude, this shit is like, it's just so boring. I'm so uninterested. Like,
yeah. I also think another thing that really set me up for the dark, doomy vibes that I was anticipating from this show was that introduction sequence, which I actually think is amazing.
yeah,
I think it's really, really cool. But it puts off such like a dark, evil vibe, and then you like watch this campy spy show, and it's people are making the jokes and like, I can fight this guy myself. I'm gonna shoot him in the chest. Just 8 seconds. Like,
yeah. I think you'll enjoy it the more episodes you watch. I do think the intensity picks up a little bit, and it's crazy to like. I think it is pretty violent still. Like, and I think that bodes well for like the future of like Daredevil and stuff. But it's funny because on a semi-related but unrelated note, my wife had never watched the Indiana Jones movies. And just like out of the blue the other day, she's like, I want to watch Indiana Jones. And I was like, oh, shit, okay. Like, I love Indiana Jones,
Yeah.
But I haven't watched them for a while either. Like, she didn't even know there was one in theaters right now. Like, she's just like, she knows Indiana Jones from the ride at Disneyland, and that's about it. And so I was like, all right. So, like, I haven't watched them for a good while. And we're watching, like, we watched the first 2. They're fucking crazy violent. Like, Indiana Jones is very violent.
Oh yeah, dude. Like really.
And back then it was like rated PG.
Yeah, the sacrifices and stuff like that, or that dude gets his heart ripped out.
Not just that. Like even the the opening sequences of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Motherfucking Otto Octavius from Spider-Man 2 got impaled by fucking spikes and shit. People getting run over by vehicles, people getting like sucked into machines and blood splattering everywhere. Like, it's crazy violent.
Yeah, that airplane sequence too, where he gets a bunch of blood on his face. It is for sure. And then like all their faces like melt off, and they show you the gross details. So, like that was all LucasArts though, man. I don't know what to tell you. They're just on that level.
Bro, like today, that shit would not be rated PG.
PG-13 for sure. I don't know, like something was PG-13 that was really violent. I forgot what it was.
I mean,
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was PG-13, but it was also like really there's a lot of really violent stuff in it.
I mean, I think it's more the content, the subject matter that's like it hits more, like it feels worse because because of the subject matters. But it is, it's still violent. So, but yeah, I mean, I think Secret Invasion is still violent, and I think it does pick up. But episode 1, I think, is just to kind of establish, this cell of Skrulls that have these plans and all this shit they're doing, and then to explore. Really, it's to explore the relationship of Nick Fury with the Skrulls. Through his history, and more specifically with Talos. And it's more like, it's kind of like, You know what it is? Maybe it's because the show doesn't know if it wants to be this crazy, intense spy thriller or if it wants to be a buddy cop thing.
Yeah, the buddy cop thing. I think that's a good description of what I was picking up on.
Because it's trying to kind of be both, right? Like it's dealing with spy thriller stuff, and in addition to that, like deal again, it brings in real world things. Not only the stuff because of like the being on the precipice of war and shit, like that's one thing, right? But for a lot of people, that's like not a reality. Like even though it is, I think the more like real world shit is like Nick Fury, everybody's staring at him when he's in a bar in Russia,
Mm.
right? Because like it's very obvious that you don't see a lot of big black dudes in Russia. So obviously when one walks into a bar, everyone is going to stare, right? And
Yeah.
this is like, you know, when you go back to conversations about quote unquote white privilege and stuff, people say it's not real or whatever. Part of white privilege is you never have to like know what it feels like to walk into somewhere and be the only person that looks like you and have everyone
Yeah.
stare at you. Like, you know, we can kind of blend in most places in America at least,
Yeah.
and around the world. But when you're Nick Fury, right? When you look that way, you can't. And it's like not everybody wants to be reminded of that, but like it still is powerful to see.
Yeah.
But like again, like a lot of people just want it. Okay, I'll just say if you want escapism, don't watch Secret Invasion because
Yeah.
you're not escaping with that. You're
Especially the whole thing set in Russia. Like, there's still all this crazy shit going on. Like, I'm sorry, but like, portraying Moscow as like this nice, happy, campy place, like, where everyone's having a good time is, I don't know, it's just not the vibe right now.
well,
Like,
yeah,
it's
especially
pretty,
right now.
it's pretty wild. Like, I don't know, like the war. I guess probably the war probably didn't start when they started filming this, probably, so they just had to go with it, and it's
Yeah,
it's just a while. It's you're right. Maybe I'm just too depressed to enjoy this show right now. Maybe that's just it. But I still really like that intro sequence a lot, so let's watch that. Try out
yeah,
something else.
yeah. I mean, it's certainly like it's certainly something. I think a lot of there are a lot of shows in other media like this where if you're not in the right mood, like you just won't enjoy them, right? Like
Yeah.
comedies especially, right? If you're not in the right mood to laugh or whatever, you're just gonna like hate the movie. You're gonna think everything is corny and shitty, and you're gonna be like, "What the like? This shit's so dumb." But like if you're in the right mood, like you might like it, right? You might lift your spirits, but you know, for a lot of things, you have to be in that kind of mood to enjoy them. And I feel like Secret Invasion is one of those things. Like you can't be in the mood of like wanting to escape through media because it'll just piss you off or like annoy you or like you'll just kind of tune out because it's not something you want to process at this time. So but like I said, I'm enjoying it. I mean, episode one kind of just establishes the you know these scrolls who are essentially trying to wipe out the human race and take Earth to be their new home. Um, and I don't think they explored the reasoning necessarily for that until the second episode. So I won't talk about it. But
Yeah.
I think the other
Hopefully we'll
thing I
do
don't
a
know if
longer episode. When I watch everything, because I'm gonna watch it more tonight for sure.
yeah.
There's nothing done about that. I have to for the podcast. I don't feel bad when I don't. So
Yeah, I don't know if this is something that like you picked up on or because I don't necessarily think it's true, but I think I've seen people talking about it. Do you feel like this show felt like it was supposed to be about Captain Marvel?
no,
Okay, me neither. But a lot of people are
I don't.
saying
Yeah,
like
no.
this show was
Yeah,
made
I
for
thought it was
her.
supposed. Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be like about Nick Fury and Shield and what he's doing and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I assume that I assume that there are going to be cameos of like Avengers and famous people that were kept hidden from the public. That's just an assumption though. I'm not sure if that's actually going to be true or not.
I mean, it's possible, but I mean, nobody really knows. I guess.
Until it happens.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it certainly is an interesting show. We'll have to see kind of where it goes from here, but I'm enjoying it. I can't quite put my finger on what I'm enjoying about it, but maybe it's just because I like Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, that could certainly be the case.
Yeah.
I could be hating it because I've just watched a lot of buddy cop movies and a whole bunch of other stuff growing
Yeah.
up. So Just the campiness of the conversation when I was expecting it to be bleak and depressing the entire time. It's just a
Yeah.
odd
And
juxtaposition with that like such an intense intro sequence. And so again, it's so dark. Like it really is a really dark intro sequence. Like it's supposed to build up this mystery and like this sense of foreboding and everything. And it's just
right. They did establish in episode 1 Talos's daughter, right? Like you know who his daughter is?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, his daughter is Daenerys Targaryen, first of her name.
All she'll ever be known for.
Yeah. I mean, I like Emilia Clarke as an actress. I thought she was good as Kira in Solo. And I think
thought she was okay.
Well, I mean, she wasn't anything special or terrific, but I think her character worked, right?
Yeah.
And at least had depth, right? It wasn't just a one-dimensional garbage character. Like they could do.
There was
Star
something
Wars,
there.
but...
Yeah, there definitely was something there.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
Yeah. And I think I mean, aside from the writing, I think the writing let Daenerys down, you know what I'm saying? I don't think she let her character down, but I think the writing let her character down. So, but yeah, anyway, do you have any other thoughts about episode 1?
No, I don't. I'm just trying to purse my brain and see if there's anything positive I can say. Like I enjoyed some parts with Nick Fury and everything like that, and Samuel Jackson being Samuel Jackson is always fantastic. I don't like the guy scroll they're rolling around with, the dude who's like the dad of Emilia Clarke. I don't know. Just something about him, like, it doesn't feel like, I don't know, his character, his writing. I don't know. Just a lot of things that this movie just rub me the wrong way. But hopefully, maybe that'll go away the more and more I watch it. So that's hopefully what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Instead of me being a miserable, angry, cynical person.
Well, it's okay to be cynical, it happens. But yeah, I mean, in other news, not in other news because we haven't said anything about news, but I guess we'll transition to some news now. Cue theme song. Nerd news. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you gotta do that one of these days.
Yeah, I just gotta get it all like hooked up properly, and yeah, it'll be easy.
No worries. Trust me. I just show up and talk. You got the hard part.
Yeah. So apparently Benedict Cumberbatch is filming an MCU return in Phase 5 or something.
Yep.
That's all we know from that. There's some news about Echo, but I don't even know if people know what Echo is anymore. But Echo is a spin-off. Essentially, Echo was in Hawkeye. And she's deaf and she's getting her own spin-off. Apparently it's gonna be 5 episodes long, and there's been some reshoots and shit. But this all comes from an insider on Twitter, so I don't care. I'm moving on. Also, Barbie director Greta Gerwig is gonna be helming Netflix's Chronicles of Narnia reboot.
Oh, cool.
Do you like Chronicles of Narnia?
Yeah, it's all right. I don't know.
It's all right.
I just think that I don't know why we need another movie show of crime. Like, it's been done like 800 gajillion times.
Well, hasn't everything? Like,
yeah.
we all know that Hollywood is kind of devoid of ideas, or rather that original ideas don't make money. And what makes money is franchises and stuff. But honestly, nothing's making money anymore right now at the box office, and who knows why that is. I mean, I don't have any market data or anything to talk about it, but Indiana Jones isn't doing great. The Flash did pretty bad. It's still doing pretty bad.
I would call it dead on arrival.
Elemental, the Pixar movie, had a really low opening. And a lot of things aren't doing great. I mean, but Guardians did great, right? So I think most of these other ones can be explained, but just by other data, right? Like the Pixar one, I mean, it'll eventually be on Disney Plus, and so people maybe going to the movies is expensive. because tickets are outrageous, like more outrageous than they've ever been, to be honest. And on top of that, like concessions, like you gotta like refinance your house to even pay for those things. So it could be those. And then Indiana Jones, right? Kingdom of the Crystal Skull left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, so maybe they're not going back to see this one. The Flash could be because of Ezra Miller's unpunished crimes. There could be reasons for all these things, in addition to, right, DC rebooting. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, just, people aren't, even like sure things aren't making good money anymore. So, but yeah, Chronicles of Narnia. Who knows?
Who knows?
Like, it's gonna be interesting to see how deeply they lean into the allegory of Chronicles of Narnia, because like, right, that like my one big complaint with Chronicles of Narnia is like, I mean, Aslan is just Jesus, and like it's so paper thin. Like, there's not a lot of complexity there. There's not a lot of like anything significant other than like Narnia is like heaven and Aslan is Jesus, and it's just that's what it's supposed to be. I mean, that's not what it has to be to everyone, but like it's very clear that that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So to me, it's kind of like limited as a story because of those things, but I still enjoy it. Like, it's still just a decent fantasy film. Like, I liked the last Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe they did. I don't know. I thought it was good. I mean, Prince Caspian was okay, and Voyage of the Dawn Treader was meh.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like you said, do we really need more?
No, we need more new stuff, I think is what we need.
And to answer that question, we're also getting Harry Potter movies. Well, not movies. I think it's a TV series, right?
TV show, yeah.
Yeah, so more Twitter insiders are coming out to tell us all about all the crazy news, including that apparently Ben Affleck will reprise his role of Daredevil in Deadpool 3. So if that doesn't pan out, you can blame the Twitter insiders who say everything. What else? We talked about Kraven already, right? I think we talked about it multiple times. Did you watch the Kraven the Hunter trailer?
No, I didn't.
Oh. All right. Well, Kraven the Hunter, right, got a trailer. I think the effects look great. It's going to be violent. It's rated R. I think Aaron
Kraven's
Taylor...
like DC. Isn't Kraven DC?
No, it's Marvel. He's a Spider-Man villain, but there's no Spider-Man in it, so...
Oh, yeah. Isn't that like... Don't you like hate these movies and think they should stop making them?
Well, I do, but Venom messed that up because the first Venom made like 800 mil, so now they think that they have the recipe to make spin-offs. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a nightmare scenario for Sony because everything they're trying to do is failing, except for the Spider-Verse films. But the last Venom didn't do great. Other than that, I mean, they put a bunch of things into production that they stopped the production on. Who knows what's happening with the Silks TV series? Black Cat and Silver Sable, I believe, got shelved. Bad Bunny left the role of El Muerto. They were trying to do some jackpot movie as well. Like, who knows what they're doing? But they want to cash in on all these Spider-Man villains. I mean, Morbius was a train wreck. But yeah, Kraven, I mean, it looks like the visuals look great. The characters look great. I mean, it's just to me one of those things where like the story might be super basic and it just might be one of those like corny comic book movies, right? It's rated R. It's supposed to be like this big, crazy, violent thing. Instead of hunting big game, right? Kraven is known for hunting, being a big game hunter. Instead of him being a big game hunter, he like befriends animals and like can like make them do his bidding, I guess, right? Like he's kind of like the Aquaman of the savannah. It looks like from the trailers, but who knows? I mean, it could be great, it could be shit, and that's just kind of where I am with it.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I talked about the Twitter insider who claims that Ben Affleck will be reprising his role as Daredevil in Deadpool 3. Well, I don't know if it's the same Twitter insider or another one, but there's also a Twitter insider claiming that Channing Tatum shot scenes as Gambit for Deadpool 3. So Deadpool 3 is just going to have every single person from Fox ever, anything from that Fox was going to do that they stopped doing. It's just, they're all going to be in Deadpool 3, guys. Every single one of them. That's sarcasm. I don't know the truth of that. But, hey, it's possible because that's what these big, like, multiversal movies are doing now, right? I mean, they did it in The Flash, where you see all these other versions of these characters from other timelines. Like, and of course, Deadpool comes from the Fox universe, so it makes sense that we'd see a lot of the Fox X-Men characters, maybe some of the Fantastic Four ones. There's been no rumors about that, but before that, right, Daredevil, Fox 2003, Ben Affleck. So, okay, there's that rumor. He's going to be in it. Channing Tatum was linked to the role of Gambit for like 3 or 4 years. Never happened. So there's that. I mean, who knows? Do you have any thoughts, opinions on this stuff?
Yeah, not really, dude.
Okay. Well,
it's bad for content, I guess.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You know, what do you think about this guy? Right? There's a stunt double or something, a stunt coordinator, some guy who worked on stunts on Daredevil for Netflix. He did some interview on a podcast, not our podcast because we don't do interviews.
This is kind of all like the drama, like I try to avoid with all like the Hollywood, like like you said, your brain gets tainted by like what the things these people say, and you go into movie theaters expecting certain things, and certain things are different,
Yeah.
So it's why I try not to like stay above this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's just people, because it's just people that want money. They get a sponsorship. They get paid money to go on some of these podcasts, like 30 or 40 grand sometimes. Like, it's wild. Especially
well, this guy went on there to talk shit.
Yeah, so
he went on there to talk shit about Daredevil in the MCU. He said they turned him into a cartoon for She-Hulk. And I got news for you, buddy. You should read Mark Waid's run on Daredevil. Let me tell you, he's quite cartoonish at times, but also very serious at other times. People who want Marvel's Daredevil to be the same as Netflix's Daredevil maybe are gonna be disappointed, but I mean, it's still Daredevil. Daredevil doesn't have to be a one-dimensional character. Oh, this will be fun. This will be fun. But yeah, this Ezra Miller's talking again, man. Why?
Oh boy,
why?
I gotta go eat dinner soon. My mom's gonna get mad.
Oh, for sure. Well, dude, this. I sent you one thing we didn't talk about.
You did? You send me something?
Yeah, like last week, I think.
Oh, okay. Wow, that was last week.
Yeah. So Ezra Miller says that they've been unjustly targeted after the expiration of the protective order. So there was a temporary protective order against Ezra Miller in Massachusetts that has been lifted, and now Miller is calling the initial move an unjust way of targeting him. He says the family was seeking fame. All right. In June 2022, a harassment protective order was issued against Miller after the mother of a 12-year-old non-binary child accused Miller of acting inappropriately around the child. Specifically, the family said that Miller was aggressive toward them during visits, and that in one instance, Miller visited the family wearing a gun. So the mother, is this the mother? No. A child, right? A child. This is what a child said. The child said, "It was really uncomfortable. I was really nervous. I was scared to be around them after they'd yelled at my mom and she was crying." A year after the order was given, a judge in Massachusetts has let it expire. And in a statement on Instagram, Miller called out the family for unjustly and directly targeting them, as well as calling the family out for seeking attention or fleeting tabloid fame. Protective order, this is a quote, "Protective orders are meant to provide safety for individuals, families, and children who are in danger. They are not meant to be used as weapons by those seeking attention or fleeting tabloid fame or some sort of personal vengeance when there are people in true and dire need of these services," said Miller in a statement. Trouble has followed Miller for some time. We know all this. Yes, he's done a lot of. They have been the. Yeah. I'm not gonna read their whole statement, but it doesn't matter what you believe, honestly, because the truth is, there's a long list of misbehavings following Ezra Miller, and they have yet to really suffer any consequences from it. So.
Yeah, well, the Flash is tanking, and hopefully, and that Michael Keaton movie already got canceled. So hopefully, this will all just fall apart and burn in flames, and we won't have to talk about it anymore. About how someone's getting away with being a very bad person in public all the time and just falling to pieces.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I hope we don't have to talk about Ezra Miller anymore.
Hollywood just eats people alive. That's what happens. Like, some people just turn into the worst kind of versions of themselves.
Yeah. So last thing then, so we can go eat. Follow up on the Jonathan Majors story. So there's a new report that details alleged extreme abuse within previous relationships.
Did we talk about this last week, actually?
We didn't, but I sent it to you. And then you talked about how it's a dog pile and stuff.
It's a legal dog pile. Like, when there's an in, like, you lawyer up and you just go in and they write, like, this, and they join in as a Jane Doe 1 through, and then you have Jane Doe 1 through 5, and then you have Jane Doe 1 through 10, and then you have Jane Doe 1 through 20, 1 through 40, 1 through 50. Like, it happens all the time.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Jesus, what's his name? NFL quarterback. Yeah, we're all nerds. Nobody watches football here. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't watch football.
He's the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns now, I believe. But anyway, he was accused of inappropriate behavior with a massage therapist or whatever. He'd have masseuses come to his room and stuff, and he had 40 or 50 accusers at one point. All these massage therapists. And then, when they were supposed to give sworn statements, all of them just dropped out, right? And it was a thing of well, is the opposing attorney or whatever just finding people to claim this, and then under sworn testimony they all say, oh no, this didn't happen, kind of thing, right? Because if you lie, right, you could get 10 years, right, or some shit. You can get fucked if they find out you're lying.
Yeah.
For perjury and shit. So I don't know, but when it comes to the media, you don't have to worry about perjury necessarily. So yeah, a new report details even more allegations of abuse and misconduct from actor Jonathan Majors, both in personal relationships and on sets of recent movies. Rolling Stone published an extensive deep dive into a near decade of alleged incidents, including and in addition to Majors being arrested on domestic violence charges earlier this year. The report spoke to more than 40 sources who have known Majors in graduate school at Yale University and his romantic relationships and on the sets of his movies. As one source says in the report, no one is surprised that this is coming out. It always felt like it was a matter of time because his behavior never changed. He's kind of a bad dude, and now it's just catching up with him. The report alleges, according to over a dozen different sources, that Majors abused two previous romantic partners physically and or emotionally. Allegedly, one woman endured, quote, really extreme abuse physically and mentally while dating Majors, culminating to the point of him strangling her. There are also allegations of emotional abuse towards a second woman Majors dated, with claims that he was, quote, controlling over everything that from what she ate to who she could interact with. Sources claim that the women called her and Majors' relationship emotional torture, and that he would get angry to the point of, quote, needing to hit something or punch a wall or something of that nature. She said on a few occasions that he wanted her to believe that he was the oxygen in the room and that she could not live without him. The report also dives into Majors' alleged professional behavior, both acting at Yale's School of Drama and working in recent film projects like Devotion and the upcoming magazine Dreams. According to the report, Majors allegedly had multiple confrontations and altercations with his Yale classmates while acting, including slapping a classmate while they were play wrestling during rehearsal. Classmates reportedly took their concerns to Yale administration, and even some instructors reportedly saw the incidents firsthand. A source who worked on the set of 2022's Devotion claims that Majors allegedly made members of the costume department cry on set, saying, quote, "It started to become borderline abusive. It seemed like it was some kind of sick pleasure that he took out of it. Once those girls cried, he did it to people who he could tell would be too afraid to stand up for themselves." On the set of Magazine Dreams, which is currently scheduled to be released in December, Majors allegedly physically reacted to 2 crew members on set, pushing one and, quote, moving in an intimidating manner toward the other while yelling to the other. Complaints were reportedly filed, but a production source claims that the incident did not involve physical contact or intimidation, and that Majors, quote, was immediately made aware of the complaint, and he was mortified that he had made someone feel bad. These updates come after.
Yeah, this is all just like this is just all behavior of someone who obviously like just treats other people like shit and eventually catches up with you because people treat them like shit always break the law. Like, they always go too far, and it's just I don't think you need to read any more of that.
Yeah. What's funny, the funniest part about this to me is there was a follow-up, I think from either his PR team or his attorney, which his attorney's husband is his PR team now, that said that these are misconstrued allegations because he's a method actor and that can make him intense or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, being a method actor isn't really an excuse to be a piece of shit to everyone around you. So
yep.
I don't know about that one. But yeah, ultimately, like if anybody is watching this or listening to this and you don't know, we've talked about this many, many times. You can believe whatever you want, whether you think Jonathan Majors is innocent or not, and whether you want to wait till the courts or whatever. Based on everything I've heard, based on all the evidence, I believe that Jonathan Majors is a piece of shit. And I think that I do think he's guilty. I can't say he's guilty of everything. Of course, like what you're saying, like when people get accused of something, a lot of people will come out and exaggerate stories to paint someone in a bad light and be like, I knew it. None of that is necessarily necessary. All we really need are the facts of the things that he's accused of. But my personal belief, based on everything I've read, is that he is an abuser. But I also think he's a phenomenal actor. So
we'll just have to wait and see. I really gotta go.
yeah, all good. So we're gonna end here, guys. Much love, much appreciated. Thanks everybody for hanging out. If you're listening, please subscribe, follow on Spotify. We're up to 6 followers on Spotify.
Yay.
You can follow on Twitch as well to catch our live podcasts. These also get posted on YouTube, all that good stuff. Follow, like, subscribe, rate, review, do all the things. We're gone. Goodbye. Much love.